The first time I truly felt fear wasn't in a nightmare or a horror movie, it was in my own home, alone, with something breathing upstairs. I was 9, maybe 10, when my parents moved us into an old house nestled in a quiet, wooded part of town. The trees surrounded it like sentries, and everything seemed just a little too still. The house was beautiful in that old world, fragile kind of way. Towering ceilings, ivy-wrapped windows, and a sprawling garden that always seemed to rustle even when the wind stood still. But there was something off about the place. It had a stillness that wasn't restful. It felt like the walls were listening, like the air itself was holding its breath. One night, my parents were invited to a charity gala. They left in formal wear, telling me, "Finish your homework, eat something decent, and be in bed by 9. No exceptions." They couldn't find a babysitter last minute. I was thrilled. Being left alone in that giant house felt like a reward, a sign that I was trusted, that I was growing up. I ordered pizza, something loaded with cheese. I lay on the rug watching cartoons, laughing, completely lost in the freedom of it all. It was perfect at first, but as the sun dipped behind the trees and the last light faded, the mood shifted. The warmth drained from the air, shadows thickened. The TV gave a brief flicker, just a second of static. Then back to normal. I stared at the screen. My skin prickled. The quiet had changed. It wasn't friendly anymore. I muted the TV, listened. The house creaked, sure, but it sounded different. Like someone was walking, slowly, upstairs. It was almost 11 when I heard the first thump. A solid, heavy sound from upstairs, like something falling. I froze. Then another, rhythmic, deliberate. My mouth went dry. I tried to reason. A book, something tipping over, the house settling. But the sounds were too steady, too intentional. I grabbed the flashlight. My hand trembled so hard the beam shook like a strobe. I turned on a few extra lamps. I didn't feel grown up anymore. Then came the breathing. Low, wet, a rattling gasp, like someone trying to inhale through a throat full of fluid. It was coming from upstairs. I crept toward the stairs. My legs were jelly. Every step groaned under my weight. I begged the floor not to betray me. The sounds continued, louder now. At the top, I turned toward my parents' room. The door was open a crack. Light flickered from behind it, light that shouldn't have been on. I reached for the doorknob. My fingers were slick with sweat. I pushed the door slowly, silently. It creaked like it hadn't been opened in years. The room was cold. My breath fogged the air. The curtains fluttered, though the window was shut. The gurgling breaths were louder now. Then lightning flashed. For one searing second, the room lit up like day. I saw it, a figure at the foot of the bed, hunched wrong. It wasn't human. It had limbs that bent too far, too many angles. Its head was thrown back, and it made a sound between choking and laughter. In its hand was a hammer, old, rusted, heavy looking. It raised it, slow and deliberate, as if savoring the moment. My legs locked, the light vanished. I was plunged into total darkness, but the image was burned into my brain. I didn't scream. I backed away. I turned and ran. Down the stairs, stumbling. I hit the bottom hard but didn't stop. My body moved on pure terror. At the front door, I fumbled the locks. My hands wouldn't work. Finally, it opened. The night air hit me like a slap. I ran. Past the garden, through the trees. I didn't stop until the gas station lights glowed ahead. I collapsed inside, sobbing. The clerk, an older man, took one look at me and called the police. I could barely speak. I just pointed back toward the woods. My parents arrived, furious and confused. The police searched the house. No signs of entry, no hammer, no figure. The bed was perfectly made. One officer muttered about a smear on the inside of the window, a foggy imprint round with long marks trailing down like fingers. Years later, while moving, I found an old sketch pad in a box. One drawing caught my eye. It was crude but clear. A hunched figure, a hammer. At the bottom of the page I had written, in my own handwriting, "Watching." I don't remember drawing it, but I remember what I saw. That was the night I learned fear has a face I'll never forget. If you made it this far, you're braver than I was. Like, share, and subscribe if you want more stories that stay with you after the lights go out. And remember, next time you hear something in the dark, don't look, just run.